Good morning, Jim. Welcome back to your home turf here to Toyota Liffey Valley, and thank you for being brand ambassador for our company. I'm delighted to welcome you here. I know Round Towers is your local, where you grew up. We're right here in the heart of it. Sport aside, the real heroes this year are the frontline workers. Hopefully we'll have new heroes on the 19th, but the real heroes are those that helped throughout the pandemic. This year you're joining us in the stands as a spectator. And what's it like now to be off the sideline and with the build up to the match coming up?
Well, first of all, Tom, just delighted to be here this morning as brand ambassador for Toyota, and particularly to be driving the environmentally friendly Toyota Camry. It's a super drive, and I'm just honoured to be with you here and to join the Toyota family. And yeah, I think it is time, as you mentioned, Tom, for us to probably pause and remember those families that have lost loved ones in the pandemic, and also to reflect on the great work that the frontline staff, as you have said, are doing on behalf of the nation. It's very humbling for us to be able to even talk about sport when people are going through at very difficult times. But all credit to the sporting organisations that have, I suppose, allowed our kids first and foremost to play, and indeed the knock-on effect then is that we have inter-county football. And indeed, from that close to both your and my heart as the GAA, and I saw on Took their own mentioning that we've had over 10 million return to play forms filled out by boys and girls and by our elite athletes in the games over the last number of months, and it's all been managed by the volunteers in our association. So I think all credit goes to them. But yeah, it is an unusual year for me to be standing here and talking with a Mayo man about an All-Ireland final in December, the week before Christmas. So yeah, it's very strange, Tom, but I think we're all just looking forward to the occasion and to what undoubtedly is going to be another cracking game between Dublin and Mayo.
As business people here in Liffey Valley, we enjoy Dublin support as much as we enjoy Mayo support. The business here thrives on the support that we get from Dublin, and come September every year, we love the rivalry between Dublin and Mayo.
Yeah.
And we've watched you on the sideline for many years, and I say to our dismay we haven't brought home Sam. Hopefully we have a chance this year. What are your thoughts on this year's match? Have Mayo a chance to bring Sam virtually home?
Yeah, I think so. And I think when we look back in the games, Tom, that we played in recent years, even my first year in charge in 2013, there was Killian had a shot at the end. And that's how close it was to being a draw. And then the games we had in 15 and 16 and 17, they've been, and even last year, like Mayo 2 points up at half time, and we were very much on the ropes, and we got a couple of lucky breaks, got a goal or two, which created a bit of distance between both sides. So we've had great rivalries, and I think even looking at the National League game this year, down in McHale Park, it was a fantastic, really good game of football. For the first week in February, Mayo got a man sent off earlier on in the game, and that probably, gave Dublin a little bit of obviously an advantage. But it was a close run game, and I think when you look at Mayo's form this year, particularly in the latter stages of the National League, you'd have to say it has been impressive. They were narrowly beaten by Kerry, put up a big score against Tyrone, and again narrowly beaten there, and they were most impressive against Galway in the National League, and that template seems to have been used against Tipperary. And the run that they've had in comparison to Dublin, Tom, when you looked at, they had to travel to Carrick-on-Shannon to play Leitrim. Then they were away in Hyde Park against Roscommon, and bet a Roscommon team that I would have a lot of admiration for. I think there's been phenomenal work done in Roscommon over the last number of years, and we met them in an All-Ireland final in under-21s back in 2012, and that generation have been moving on. And then to go to Pearse Park in Salt Hill, and to that game was so tight, and to see the emerging players. Owen McLaughlin, that fantastic block that he got, probably a game-saving block in some respects, probably showed the desire that is in this Mayo team. And I think you saw the cut about them. They had a very bumpy start, you'd have to admit, against Tipperary, but that's the way Mayo play, and I think that's why Mayo supporters love their team, is that they're very attack-minded, they really go after games. They're not going to sit back against Tipperary, and they're not going to sit back against Dublin. That does deviate. There's a reward that you can get high scores, as we saw. Was it 4-12 and a half against Tipperary? and contrasted against the second half where they left themselves a little bit open. But I think the form that they have shown is, and the teams that James Horan has picked, he's been consistent now, probably from the Roscommon game in terms of his team selection, introducing new players like Owen Mulligan, is it, in corner back. I was mentioning McLaughlin in the half backs. Tommy Conroy obviously is doing really well in corner forward, new centre half forward. So they have blended in new players with the old as well. So I think it's going to be a great game of football.
Well, given that you have Mayo blood, right? There has to be some insight into how would you set up if you were the Mayo manager. How would you set up to rival the team that you built and that this year that Desi has taken over and hopes to go for the 6 in a row?
I do, Tom. Yeah, I have a bit of Mayo blood. I have a drop of blood. The Gavin family came from Mayo, the Mayo Galway border, back in the famine times, and moved to Ballinacalligan in West Clare. So, and that's where they pitched their tent. So my mum and dad are from the west coast. From Clare, so but yeah, there is some lineage.
We knew there had to be a bit of
bit
of football background, or coming from the blood came from somewhere. Yes,
yeah. But in terms of what's the best way for Mayo to set up against Dublin, first thing I'd say in that is I'm not the Mayo manager, and James will know his team much better than any of us. We can all, speculate on this player should be playing and that player should be dropped and that player should be marking whoever. Really, until you see the players training and you have them in that environment and you have that close contact and you understand where they're at and what their motivation is, that really kind of determines your team selections. And only James and his managing team will know that, as will Desi and the Dublin managing team as well. But obviously there's key threats that Dublin have, and no more so than Mayo. Like when you see Cillian O'Connor now, he's overtaken Mikey Sheehy as the highest goal scorer in Championship. He's overtaken Matt Connor in terms of the most points scored in Championship football, and the Gooch Cooper as well. So he's on that leaderboard. He's in pole position. So from a Dublin perspective, obviously they need to pay a lot of attention to Cillian, because he will hurt them if he's not closely marked. Obviously Aidan as well, playing really well at full forward, and obviously he moves out of the park, and he's going to have to be marked as well. And Tommy Conroy in the corner, he's playing fantastic football. I first saw him coming up against Tyrone. I think he might have scored 1-3 in that game. Looked very impressive, and he's a slight of figure, but he's got quick feet and a quick brain, and he gets into beautiful positions, and he's got a sweet right foot. So again, if he's not watched, he's going to have to be. He will punish Dublin. And obviously from the midfield area, you just look at Owan. He's picking up points. Loftus as well. The two boys, your two wing forwards will always clip in with scores. Durkin from the backs as well. So there are threats everywhere from the Mayo perspective. And obviously Desi will have his work done on the Mayo threats. But from a Dublin perspective, Tom, where would you see a Dubliner strong?
I haven't the football brain that you have for analysing the matches, but it you can see the threat is staring you in the face with give Dean the ball and it's over the bar. So I mean you can't afford to foul in that, or even let the mark be clearly taken in the with the new mark system. Yes. But we'd expect a good match. I mean, they love playing each other. Yeah. I mean, there's always been a good, clean rivalry between the two of them, and they come. When I say clean, they come at it hard, but it's clean. It's nice football.
They do, and I don't expect to see it any different. You look at Stephen Cohen there at centre half back. He knows a lot of Dublin players. I know he captained Mayo to All-Ireland success at minor under 21. And he's also captained the recent UCD Sigerson team to success as well, and he knows a lot of the Dublin players, and he'll have a good insight into probably what makes these Dublin players tick.
They have a good mix of experienced players, and now they have the young blood coming in. The new players are really adding to the drive for the. I mean, it's been a long time since Mayo has had a win. Yeah. I mean, 1951. I mean, my dad was on the team at that time, and it's for at home. Dad has been a hero since that time. We could do with some new heroes in Mayo at this point.
Yeah.
It'd be lovely to see the Sam going west, but I mean, I'd say it's a tall order. But I mean, Dublin have a serious football machine, and it's going to be hard to derail it. It's just
Of course, you mentioned 51, Tom, and I have here a programme from 1951.
51.
Yeah, that great game, and I do notice a name. There's a Staunton there. I think. Do we know who that is?
Joe Staunton. That's my dad. He passed away a few years ago and didn't get to see them win it again. But at 1951 is what it's going to be. Was it 70 years this year, or 70 years in 69 years this year?
And he's from Lewisburg, Tom, was
from
he?
Lewisburg, on the west, as far west as you can go.
He used to cycle to games. I heard a story.
Cycled to games, enjoyed his games, lived his life and worked his life in Lewisburg. Had a pharmacy there. Had his medal in a tablet box on the shelf.
Tablet box.
In a tablet box.
The pharmacy.
We didn't know. We hadn't seen it for years. He had to put away in. He figured if he couldn't find it, nobody else could find it. He had it hidden in a tablet box in the dispensary, and now and again he'd take it out and give visitors a look. His family, we rarely saw it, but I mean, and he had two Connachts and a junior in 50, senior in 51.
Wow.
But his four daughters had
all the medals. Well, they're great to have. And how long did he play for Mayo, Tom?
He played for nearly 6 years in all. Okay. For it, and then family
life and running the pharmacy.
Running the pharmacy, he had to make the choice. I had to, when the National League started. I think it was in 53. Yeah. He had to make the decision: did he go on the bus or did he open the door do his business?
Yeah, you have a fantastic. Photograph in your office. I'm sure we'll show it on this.
Well, it's in 51 in the replay of the against Kerry. There was a replay of the semi-final. Yeah. It was a great shot that was taken by the Irish press at the time, and we have lucky enough to have a copy of it, and to have him. It's lifelike in the office, and it's lovely to have it there daily to see it. You know?
Did your dad talk much about that 51 team when you were growing up?
He was very private, quiet man, and when he did talk, you could listen all day. He'd like his nephews and his now in the Elburys and Staunton's Intersport that is now Elburys.
Of course, in relation there with Dublin as well, yeah.
Yes, they've sponsored the team for many years, and I mean, the seed I think came from the All Ireland win originally in the 50, and all their family were mad GA supporters, and loved it and loved the Mayo interest in it. But I mean, we've made our business here in Dublin. It's been very successful. It's been growing on the strength of the Dublin support, and I say now we have both flags up because we've getting support from both sides.
And you were Toyota Shop of the Year, is that it?
Toyota Dealer of the Year.
Okay.
And it's grown here to be the biggest selling dealer in the country, and we're very proud of the achievement here in the last 4 years. So it's going well.
Well, I'm delighted to join the Toyota high performing team. And Tom, I'm going to hand this back to you because it's a prized possession for Mayo people in Mayo. So thanks again, Tom. Delighted to be here today.
Thank you.